What's really interesting is the mix of different types of people that are here, but that the fact that everybody might be coming at it from different angles, they might be talking about different topics, different expertise, but we're all circling around the same kind of question, which is where is humanity going and what wisdom have we lost that will help us get there in a way that's very abundant and lifeful and liberating, in a world that sometimes feels the opposite of that. Just sharing all of our different perspectives on what ancient wisdom has to speak into the problems that we face today was very interesting to see how everybody had one piece of that puzzle. Nobody has the answer, so it's when we all start talking together like that something emerges in the middle, like a lotus flower starts to come up between all of us. And I think we're here to figure out what that is that's emerging here through New Hermopolis.
Domed structures, very much like this. So if you put the two together, you will think that they are replicas of each other.
A fascinating conference, and I think one of the most interesting things has actually been staying on site rather than disappearing to our hotels. This has meant that we've had a chance to communicate with each other in extensio rather than just brief snatches of conversation. I think that it's fascinating how people have stuck with the chief theme of the conference, which was the discursive oscillation between ancient and modern in terms of a constellation of newer ideas of the self, in my case discussing a meta-modern view of the self using the car. But I think the way that we all gelled around that particular set of ideas was impressive.
No, I have something apart.
I've been doing research for a long time, many years, on the Hermetic literature, and that is why I'm here. Hermopolis, the city of Hermes, the Hermetic literature. So I've been studying these ancient spiritual texts which were written during the Roman period here, about the wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus, and a kind of legendary teacher of wisdom. And so when you read these texts, then you read about people who have a very strong sense of Egypt as they call it in one of the texts, the temple of the whole world. And I love that expression. So Egypt is not just a country. For them it's very special. It is the temple of the whole world, in which people should behave in a special way, like with reverence. But they have this very strong emphasis on the reverence. I have a Greek word for it, aisebeia. And so this is a special place, and they thought about Egypt as shaped in the shape of a grand man, a grand human being, with his head to the south and with his legs in the north. And so in the very center, you're at the heart. You're at the heart of the grand man. You're in the heart of the great temple of the whole world. And right at that place is Hermopolis. I think that Mervat Abdel-Nasser has created something absolutely wonderful, unique here, because this is a place in the middle of the desert, which was created out of nowhere. And now you have the lotus pond, and you can sit here, and we can come together here talking about the Hermetic literature, which is really, in my view, a very profound series of texts with a message that still resonates today. So the idea of having this place, a bit like a sacred space, or at least a special place, a place that is not like other places, at this location, devoted to not just keeping alive, but bringing forward, moving forward the Hermetic and related esoteric traditions. Because if you look at all the all the rooms here, they're all named after famous figures who belong to this great tradition that originated in Egypt. I was myself in the room Ficino, and Ficino is a special person for me because that was an Italian Renaissance philosopher who translated the Hermetic literature into Latin for the first time, and therefore made it available for a very large audience for the first time. And it is the origin of the revival of the Hermetic tradition. And so many other people are here. They are in Ibn Arabi, they are in Goethe, they are in Rilke, they are in, what did I see? Dulnun, a very interesting Sufi author who sort of connects the ancient Hermetic tradition that was practiced in Panopolis here by Zosimos, the alchemist, with later Islamic traditions. So that's another thing, the interference and the resonance of Hermetic literature with other religions, because you find this in Jewish, in Christian and Islamic traditions. You find the influence that it has had in all these contexts. And it's a beautiful tradition, it's very impressive, it is very inspiring, and nothing can be more inspiring than studying it and talking about it in this particular place.
I've never been so excited to do anything, a conference. I'm usually not that excited to go to a conference. They're great and I love them, but this was really something, like I said, it was like a dream come true, something I'd been thinking about and imagining, I would love it if something like this would happen one day. What's important for me is the location here, because as a scholar I work on Zosimos of Panopolis, who's nearby. Most people, when they come to Egypt, and also this is my first time in Egypt, so I've been in Egypt in my head for the last 20 years, imagining Zosimos, what it was like, and imagining the landscape, imagining the culture of ancient Egypt anyway. And so for me to actually set foot here is so incredible. And Hermopolis is the city of Thoth, and they're doing excavations right now, and the priests of Thoth, who are our intellectual ancestors. I'm not Egyptian, of course, but my intellectual ancestors are all right here, and I get to be among them.
They're very harmless. Yeah, they're meant to just help.
There is a lot of wisdom in these topics. One thing I like about Hermetic philosophy and theology is that it's based in the real. It's not something, it's based in cosmic structures. It's very grounded to the environment. I've been working on the Book of Thoth lately. Zosimos, of course, has been my long project, but I've just started working on the Book of Thoth. And lots of environmental wisdom, I think, comes out. This is one thing I think we could bring forward, kind of this cosmic harmony. As above, so below is an important Hermetic teaching, and it's encoded in all of the texts. And I think that because it's real, because it's based in the cosmic structure and in the environmental structures and honoring the rhythms of nature and bringing harmony back, gaining insight, spiritual insight, and bringing that back, but through the cosmic structures so that it resonates at every level. From the stars, we've had astrology, talks and a wonderful astrology event the other night where we looked at the night sky, but also down to the mineral, from the plant world and down into the mineral world. We've been covering all of that.
This is for them useless, although it produces wonderful shade, and it could have been over the banks of the Nile and gives very beautiful shade. Besides the fact that it is a tree that lasts for many, many years, and it was the sacred tree in ancient Egypt and the mother tree, and you can see several pictures of the sycamore as a woman and suckling the child or giving food and drink and all that.
Whoever is here is meant to be here. It's one of those magical gatherings that through synchronicity, we end up here, and the group that has come has just coalesced into a loving family. The place is conducive to that, very much so. It's a beautiful environment and a peaceful, very peaceful, but at the same time intellectually stimulating environment. Dr. Nasser has really done a fabulous job with making it both old and new. I'm very happy I came. I've made some incredible friends here. I hope that other people come and have the same experience and make friends for life, because that's what it's going to take to bring a new world into being. I mean, we're here imagining a new world, a new humanity, a future human, and that takes it takes every part of your body. It takes your intellect, it takes your heart, it takes guts, and then it takes your feet to propel you forward to do what you're called to do in this life. And here's a great place to be inspired, to be called to do what your soul is here to do.
He made the bread and gave the bread every day for the people in the Catholic.
There is something happening here, they can actually go out and eat whatever they want. And also it is good for the tourists that they come to visit just Tuna El Gabel or any of the antiquities, because they take them back to the hotels in Minya, which is about an hour from here.
I was very much moved by Mervat Nasser's vision for the new Hermopolis Center, specifically the idea that this tradition, the Hermetic tradition, is deeply connected to this land, New Hermopolis, the broader kind of land of Middle Egypt that's so often forgotten, and that this very famous tradition, which has given birth to so many movements in Egypt and around the world, be traced back here, and that a renaissance of Hermeticism start precisely here. The papers have been really exquisitely interesting and learned, but the fact that we can leave out the back and get into the desert has been a wonderful reminder of the land. And I think today our visit to Amarna was especially moving for me, because I'm very interested in the figure of Akhenaten and his solar theology.
Because the short time of el-Amarna, a lot of tombs unfinished. But if you can see the work, it's done together. And the next work unfinished.
My first thought was, I want to be there. I am an astrologer, I want to do an astrology. This is the best place to do something with astrology. So I started to be in contact with her, and 1 year later I am here in a very, very, very special gathering with people that is very commitment and very engaged with Hermetic thought and practice. Learning a lot. Right now, after 3 days, like sharing lot of personal practices and thought, not only the academic research, but our personal connection with Hermeticism. The symbolism here is so deep, and I'm trying to digest all that. Right now, I feel in love with this place. This is the only thing that I can say right now, like love, deep love.
You can only do it with the hand. Any other technique, it won't indicate. Those potatoes are great.
Once that whatever we harvest, we can press it straight away. This part from here till the entrance is supposed to be the community interaction part. So it is the farming productive part, but also it is the space of engagement with the local community.
So I felt really connected to Thoth today at the temple, which has only just recently been resurrected. So seems like not considering how important a figure he is, it's not really being, looked after. And I could really feel the energy there. And then we went to the catacombs, and I sat in front of a baboon, right? And the baboon, the energy transmitted from the baboon was like I was sitting in front of God. This place that Mervat's built is a piece of context engineering. So she's created this space from nothing, right? She's come to the desert, she's planted trees, she's planted rare trees that aren't really around so commonly in Egypt. She's planted acacia trees, which we know have a great history in the land. And, she's reconstructed in Hermetic principles. Each little house is related to a Hermetic master. So I think that just being in this place inspires knowledge and inspires learning and inspires the right kind of thinking. So, we've had, a lot of us have had extraordinary experiences here. I've had an extraordinary experience dreaming about my mother who passed 6 months ago. And, it's such a gift for a space to open up dreaming, to open up this liminal sensing. And I think that we need to respect these places and make them, allow them to flourish, because there's not enough of this in the world where everything's homogenized. We have the same shops in every town, and people don't know where they are because they don't see any distinct features in that place. So the more we can utilize these kinds of principles, the Hermetic principles, to build architecture, to understand art, to build our technologies around Hermetic principles rather than this transhumanist agenda, which is constantly about extraction, about outstaying your welcome on this planet, where people want to be immortal and don't understand that actually death may be a major expansion of consciousness, not a retraction, and it's not something to hold on to for dear life. We live for 1,000 months, and let's enjoy that ride. Don't try and keep it all. Don't try and hoard your possession. Don't be a billionaire, because you can't have more than one lunch, and it's just frankly rude to the rest of the world.
I came with a bus full of people I didn't know a lot about the backgrounds of, and learning all their backstories and all of the brilliant things they had to share. It was just kind of almost like I don't know if you know, an advent calendar in Christmas. Every day, you peel one up and you're like, oh, this is so great. You have a little treat there. And so what I'm looking forward to most, I think, is how the relationships build, how the community forms, what will stay and what will last from these connections to build up Hermopolis and just other sort of adjacent work, whether it's Hermeticism itself. Because I think there's a lot of people here, it's interesting, I think there's a lot of people, even the most academic of the academics were a little jaded by academia. And so to be in a conference where, yes, there were ideas shared, but there were connections made, and there was people thinking about doing something that's bigger than themselves, I think was what was powerful for me.
It got together some of the leaders in the academic community studying Hermetism or Hermeticism, and put the academic types together with the sort of more rigorous practitioners, which I think was a great combination, because there's a common area there where people who are serious about the material. What I loved was meeting some people like Wouter Hanegraaff and Shannon Grimes, particularly Charles Stang, and people who are established in this field academically, people whose books we have read and things, and I'm on more of the practitioner side of things, a rigorous practitioner. I read the scholarly material, etc., and sort of fold that into my personal practice. So it's been great to meet and mingle with them, as well as with other practitioners, people who are serious about sort of reconstructing Hermetic ritual, let's say, and also, technical Hermetica, meaning particularly astrology, alchemy, and magic or theurgy. Those three Hermetic arts, right, which can be, of course, really traced back precisely to this place and this sort of fountain of that kind of ancient wisdom. So it's just been really spectacular. Such a great time meeting everybody and getting to talk with everybody. And there, you mentioned something about dreams, and I have had really sort of vivid dreams. I won't say lucid, let's say, but in that I couldn't really control them, but very vivid. And some of them strangely in that twilight space, that sort of liminal hypnagogic space. It's been easy to access that liminal realm here. It seems like the membrane is much thinner, like where you can get into and it almost was funny at certain times. I was talking to my roommate, Ike Baker, and I started talking nonsense for a second because I was in that space. Like, yeah, it's behind the elephant on the green glass clipboard. And it's like, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It was just like, you know what I'm talking about, where you can get into that strange area. And I wonder if that is a sort of metaphysical element of this place, or an influence of some kind where, that the thinness of that membrane is sort of can easily be punctured, I guess.
There's definitely a sense of place, a connection to the land, the spirit of the land, but more than that, a lot of us in certain circles spend a lot of time in here. And one of the things that helps pull us back out into the world so that we can make use of what we've done in here, or what we have in here, is this connection, not just to place, but to people. And working in a group like this is incredible. And I think it's important to stress that community and interrelationship needs to be valued. And not arbitrarily, not in the sense of like, let's business network, but true connection, bond with people. And these are the kinds of people that you can bond with. And more than that, the unseen mover behind it all, what brought us here, it wasn't me. I just kind of moved my feet and paid for tickets, but there is something very, very deep that has not only brought us together and is with us now, but is watching over us. And I get that sense. It's very incredible. So it's a pleasure to be here. For anybody that wishes they were here, well, you can definitely buy the digital pass.
There is an area very close to Bani Hassan tombs called Zawiyat Sultan, or the Angle of Sultan, or Zawiyat al-Mayitin.
I can mention a dream that I had last night, which was rather interesting. It was like an out-of-body experience. Stepped out of my body in the middle of the night, started walking around the room, which was very peculiar, and then the kind of boundaries of my etheric body, let's say, started to inflate to like the proportions of the universe. You know, it became quite a mystical type experience at the end of it. Actually, it was quite powerful. So that was nice to have on one of the last nights of being here. What could one desire more than to dwell in House of Life, Garden of Eden, like this, where you're not prohibited to eat from the tree of knowledge, but instead you're passionately, enthusiastically asked to do so, such that you can break free of, from the Platonic cave and reach that good and beautiful and true, and try your utmost to bring it back to the earth.